What is a topic that at any moment you could give like a 5-minute speech on?
All right, we're not gonna do 5 minutes, we're gonna do 3 minutes unrehearsed. Let's go. Not all languages have subjects and objects. Every language has different ways of indicating the relationships between participants in a sentence, like who's doing what to who in a sentence, but they don't always use subjects and objects to do that. That's just how we do it in English. In English, we use word order, so we say subject goes first, and then the verb, and then the object, and that tells us that the subject is acting on the object. So like the man ate the hot dog. Subject, object, right? Well, other languages are interested in other types of relationships. So some languages are interested in who has the most agency or control over the action, and this is called the agent. And that's compared with the thing that is affected by the action or has the action done to it, and that's called the patient. And most of the time this lines up with subjects and objects. The subject, the topic, is usually the thing doing the action, but not always. So if you think about the sentence in English, the can was kicked down the road by the boy. The can is the subject in English, but it's the patient in an agent-patient system. The agent is the boy, by the boy. So these two categories don't always line up, and languages will use different ways of indicating those. Another common way that languages use to indicate relationships between participants in a sentence is with what's called ergative absolutive marking. And this one's probably the most complicated. So basically it pays attention to who's kind of the one actually doing the work of the action, like who's undertaking the action and doing it. And it's only really important when you've got more than one participant in a clause. So if you want to say, the dog bit the man, yeah, it's kind of important to know which direction the biting is going, who's biting who, right? Man bit dog means something very different than dog bit man. So you need to mark that it's like the dog doing the biting. But if you have a sentence that's just the dog ran, well, the dog's the only participant in the clause, you don't need to mark it. So it's kind of interesting. It would be like if in English we said, I ate the hot dog, and we used I as the subject. But when it was just me and there wasn't any other participant in the clause, we would say like me run, and we'd use me instead of I there. So that's an ergative absolutive system. Now, a lot of the times we kind of know who the subject, the topic, the person doing the action in a sentence is, because there's just certain things we expect. If you have a sentence with a man and a rock in it, it's more likely that the man is acting on the rock than the rock is acting on the man, right? The rock acting on the man is kind of less typical. So there are languages out there that have what's called inverse marking. They only mark when you have kind of an unexpected topic or unexpected actor acting on a less expected topic. So it's when you have inanimate things acting on animates, or children acting on adults, or animals acting on people, and this is called an inverse system. So there's this huge, beautiful diversity of ways that languages can indicate who's doing what to who in a sentence.